sports. It's in the game.
A new adventure in Formula One is about to blast into action. 20 magnificent machines, all designed to new technical regulations, which could alter the way a race develops.
And it's lights out and away we go. Furious action there. That is worth taking a bow. 5 cars vying for the same spot at tarmac.
Pressure now Glassy, and Colin runs wide. Terrific scratch or what? I couldn't quite get a camera angle on it. In the back, but now Colin's starting to put serious pressure here.
Now it's a game of chess.
The crowd are going crazy, he's done it! No way! That is absolutely incredible stuff! This is real racing. This is us! Come on!
And all the smiles belong to the Scuderia tonight.
Let's go!
Okay, good evening everyone and welcome back to RPM Season 6 First Division. On these Tuesday nights tonight we have the first sprint race of the season around Austria. 10 turns, 7 to the right and 3 to the left. Turn 2 obviously barely being a corner on the climb up to that braking zone for turn 3. And one of the shortest calendars there is and probably ever will be on a Formula 1 calendar. So as we said just there, it's the first sprint race of the season, which will round off the first portion nicely. 2 previous rounds in Australia and Belgium, which have produced quite some good racing so far, and I would imagine tonight a sprint race around a circuit with plenty of overtaking opportunities will probably present the same kind of stuff. So we have a new driver in the McLaren team, wherever that may be. I should have had this one prepared. The name won't be there, but unfortunately Schnitzy has dropped down to a reserve for this tier. And we have been joined by none other than Hasbulla himself. Okay, maybe not himself, but Hasbulla is in the building, or he's on the track at least. So he's going to take that permanent seat. So at least we've lost one but found another. So the division can stay as full as always. Only 2 drivers not racing tonight, which I'll cover any minute now. So while the lobby gets prepared, let's take a look at the drivers table then. So Matty, one of the 2 drivers not here tonight, unfortunately, and ironically, he's joined by his teammate in that regard. So the leaders of the Constructors' Championship have no drivers tonight, so that will change things. They do have quite a nice margin, as I'll show you in a second. But nonetheless, after the opening 2 rounds, Matty leads with a healthy margin over Riker, who will be looking to get some good points today. A good result in the sprint, followed by an even better one in the main feature race. I'm sure he'll be after Natalie after her debut last week. We'll be looking to double up on those points. And theoretically, there are a number of drivers there that could take the lead of the championship tonight, and Matty will have his work cut out when he returns next week for Mexico. So that grid that you can see in front of you there is reversed, with a few changes for those who haven't scored a point yet. So Hasbulla will be starting in P1 in place of Schnitzy. Callum, then Goran Potner. So Goran Potner moves from 16th on screen down to 3rd last due to the way that he's DNF. That's all been worked out. Fill in the Alpine and Frax will fill in after those guys. Inorganic, Ivor, Goey, Puggy and Spivey will round off the top 10. And then from there, it's the top 9 from Schmidt, Danos, Jones, Dino, Stalhenk, Rodo, Natalie and Riker on the back row. Those two drivers, Natalie only started last week. She started on the front row and the back row in 2 races running. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys get on. Just getting some messages through there. That's all good. So yeah, as I said before, the championship standings are, well, Haas were starting to run away with it, nearly double the points of any other team. However, that will all change tonight. If Mercedes, Red Bull and Williams can all score some decent points, Haas could find themselves quite a way down, or at least maybe not in the lead of the championship for much longer. We've got some ticks in the lobby, which is all good because this week we will hopefully be on time, and I can't afford to miss any of it because it's all racing tonight. Here's a look at the all tiers grid then. So Mercedes still in the lead, 235 points, and closely followed by Ferrari, and then already quite a big gap down to the rest of the guys. 3 teams very close by for 3rd place, Alfa Romeo, McLaren and Red Bull. And then Haas and Williams round off the 100 pointers. And it's becoming a bit of a stretch for AlphaTauri as they look to gain on Alpine and Aston Martin. But overall, some good clusters of teams there, particularly the battle for 3rd in the opening rounds of the championship. And just in time, and just like that, the session is about to start. Now, things to note, the telemetry should be working. The audio should be back in sync. Well, I say back in sync. It should be in sync for the first time ever, which is always a positive. And yeah, we'll be good to go. I'm quite looking forward to a sprint, to be honest, because not that I'd mind talking over qualifying, but talking over racing is obviously far more entertaining. I've got myself a Corona tonight. It's been a while. I'm not going to lie, it's been a while since I've drank in the old house, but I figured, why not have one tonight? So I've got that with me. And obviously, like I've just alluded to, we're going to have a formation lap, and then we're going to be underway. What's all this coming through? Okay, it's fine, Smith. No problems, mate. What else have we got going on? Nothing. Cool. Yeah, so Bakker put a point out there about keeping to the right of the track when you want to make a pit stop. I found that difficult on Monday. I had a bit of damage and couldn't get it into the pit lane. So let's take a look at what we've got going on in chat. The numbers have gone up and down. So we've got a few loyal compatriots with us who are waiting for the action to get underway. Let's see, we've got Shaq and Huss. Higgsy saying good luck to the McLaren boys. Kalman and Organic, absolutely. It's not a trio because there's 4 of us. The little band, the band of Brummies, you might say. Wardy back in the Ferraris. Kieran's in here as well. The 4th of the band of the Brummies. And then we've got Marco with us as well. Colin, evening to you too. And Rusty in the States. Should be interesting with Matty out. Will Natalie dominate? Well, we'll soon see. I don't think anyone will dominate. Hopefully not. Because I feel like that's what we've got in this grid. It was a 1/10 of a second margin for pole position, which is nothing in comparison to the other 2 divisions. And the same can be said about the race. Obviously, it was led by Natalie initially. She lost it and regained it toward the end. And just like that, we've got lights out. And thankfully, it looks like the telemetry has kicked in as we would have hoped for. So, that's all very good to see. Very good to see. Now, that's all good. That can go and bring this back up. Okie dokie. So, I've been told by Smith that this should calculate championship points after the sprint race. So we can update you guys with the latest table once we've completed these 12 laps. Let's run through and get this stuff set up then. Let's get telemetry and all this stuff going. Everyone will be on the mediums, I guess. Yes, they are. No, nothing surprising there. And let's go with the position change. Maybe later, actually. Do I actually want anything? Yeah, okay. Yeah, the audio sounds better. It's pretty in time with what I'm clicking, so that's good. That's very good, because it was a pain for me, and I'm sure a pain for most of you guys listening to that as well, because it just... that kind of thing just really gets on my nerves. I just couldn't figure out how to fix it. And then I did, and it was a great day. So, the McLaren of Hasbulla, on his debut, he only made his eval yesterday, and he's straight back into the seat, this time in a permanent role, and he lines us up on the front of the grid. The back markers, Riker and Natalie, still coming around the penultimate corner, so there's already gaps, and Hasbulla will have to wait for quite some time. Let's see then, Jones has got himself in a pickle on the way to the line, so he'll have cold tyres. And we have green flags, Natalie also, and Rhoda also, so Riker could put himself up in the early stages. Let's see then, a good camera angle for once. I see no lights. Here we go. It took a while there, someone's connection wasn't right. We have 5 lights, and the sprint race around Austria is underway. And looking at it, let's take a look. Then the Alfa Romeo's already got a good start, but he looks as if to been forced into the wall there a little bit. I think Callum's gone alongside Kieran, which he has. Can't take the lead though. Dino and Jones, disaster for those guys at the back. Jones has had an issue. I've missed quite a lot of the action there going to turn 1, unfortunately. As they all head now down. Oh, and look at that, the Alfa Romeo of Dino. Is he going to cause problems here? He has. He's caused a few problems. It's a bit of chaos. I'm really struggling to keep up with it all here. So, we've got Snellhenk up 8 positions. Huge gains from him in the early phases. Puggy down to last. He's used to starting there after his qualifying, but that will not be the start that he wants today. Frax has also lost out quite a bit. Smith has gained a lot. He's up to P6. The top 4 have remained the same. So a poor start really there by Puggy and Frax. I missed the early incident. And let's take a look then. Seconds worth. And Natalie is round. Natalie's made a mistake. It's a difficult section of the track, that. And she's round already. And she's already going to be 15 or so seconds behind the pack. Huge gaps appearing already around the circuit. Never mind, it's because it's on the leader time. Here we go, that's much better. And Puggy's out. What's happening there? Has he retired? He has. Puggy said, sack this. He's going to go back to the shed and do the business. And he's just going to come back and start the race from where he normally would. And to be honest, I don't blame him at all for that strategy. So Hasbulla out front, still not clear of DRS, which will be enabled next lap. And there's a switch of position there. Ivor and Snellhenk, who it looks to have gone around the outside. In Organic and Goey battling now. And then Organic just dives back down. The Ferrari in behind, licking his lips, waiting for a moment to capitalise on that battle. Ivor closing in nicely behind Snellhenk. Let's see how these guys get on. Nobody else is as close as things stand. Callum sets the fastest lap of the race, just inside the 107s. He's keeping with Hasbulla all the way. Goran Potner 2, a little bit of a gap to fill. Got to remember the thing about an early sprint race is some of these guys, Goran Goran Potner, Callum, for example, who are quite quick, just haven't had the luck. Oh, and look at that, the McLaren's round. What's happened there? Who was that? Snellhank's round. And he's dropped massively. I can't get him. There we go. He's dropped massively. Now, I don't want to point the finger. I'm trying to figure out who that was. As Smith goes around the outside of Phil, who gives him the room. Good racing by the pair of them. And he can't capitalise. I'm trying to remember where he was when he got dived down the inside. Was it Jones who dived him? I think it might have been, you know. I've just caught it on my own stream there that I've got up. I think Jones might have lunged and has put Snellhank all the way toward the back of the grid. Natalie has already gained. She's only 5 seconds behind now. In behind Spivey. Right, let's catch on board. Jones now attacking Ivor. So he might find himself in the steward's room. It was a late lunge. Trying to get past, I believe it was Dino. No, it wouldn't have been Dino. I can't remember who it was. And he's already making moves. And Callum has made a move for the lead of the race. Jones has moved up to P6. And Ivor is not going to fight that one. However, he will have DRS. Let's see what's going on between these two guys. That was a simple braking zone, I would imagine, by Callum up the inside of turn 3. And catching Hasbulla out finally. So Callum leads the race after 4 laps. A third of the way through the sprint. What I was going to say before it all kicked off was, you know, a couple of those guys at the front, Callum being one, and Rodo retires in the pit lane. Goran Potner being another, Smith being another. All of these guys who have good pace, who've just been unlucky in the opening few rounds, all of a sudden find themselves with drivers around them who aren't quite as quick, and they can convert these kind of results. So it's all on the drivers who've had the success, like Natalie and Rodo and Puggy, for example, who need to make up good positions during the Grand Prix. Yeah, we've got Alex reminding us that it was definitely Jones causing chaos around. He'll have loved that one. Let's see, we've got we've got Phil taking Smith and Dino taking Goey. Everything seems to be happening at the same time. I'm going to ride on with these guys though, because this seems like the most entertaining battle at the minute. And Riker sniffing around this. He's up 7 places. As is Jones, albeit he could find himself in the steward's room. Rodo has left the session. Now I believe he's got time to rejoin. But again, it's not what you want to see. An organic 3-second time penalty. After just 5 laps, he's picked up 3 track limits warnings, and that's going to be pretty crucial in such a short race. Kieran, the gap to Hasbulla, he has no DRS, and Kieran has no ERS to match him either. All of a sudden, Goran Potner in DRS, and with a bit more ERS at his disposal, is looking in good shape here. So, let's see what data we can get back on Goran Potner, which we have, thank God. Yes, mate, love this. Right, we've got tyre wear. So we can see in Frax has just picked up front wing damage. What's happened to him there? At the back, he's dropped it, and he's just picked up front wing damage. Let's see how bad it is. I don't want to hang around for too long. There's something about to happen here. Let's go on board with a little battle. Danos, the 2 Ferraris, closing in on each other for P7. Let's take a look. Frax. He's got heavy front wing damage on the left, so he'll be pitting. He's already last. He's already 25 seconds behind. Might just want to save those legs and just retire in the pit lane. There's always going to be a safety car opportunity, perhaps, as Danos picks up a 3-second time penalty, and all of a sudden, that battle not on so much. Jones, another one. Ivor, now 3 seconds. It's a difficult track, but, you know, these are going to be crucial in a sprint setting. So yeah, Frax is going to have to pit. We were looking at Goran Potner's tyres in relation... Who's that yellow flag? Is that... Who is that? Is it Frax, the back marker, struggling to get around? Yes, it is. And now he just has to sit there. Oh, he's going to end up cleaning the boards out. Oh, bless him. He's done the right thing there to not destroy the braking board. I respect that. But he might get disqualified here, to be honest. He's just perched up there, and if he sits there for much longer to let the whole field pass, he's going to have to put his foot down now and get moving. Which he has done. Fair play to Frax. He's sacrificed his own race for the benefit of others. And Reich is round. And Danos. Or is it just Danos? I think it might be just Danos. Phil picks up a penalty. So the Ferrari is round. Yeah, Frax is going to have to get that front wing in for change. Danos, let's take a look at his tyre situation. His rears are lit up after that spin. 20% front, 24% rear. So he is already ahead of everyone else. And Callum is really taking the lead for the race. I'm going to leave you guys to watch this. Because I keep missing the action. Because I'm trying to figure out what's going on in this exciting telemetry system that we finally have running. Which is amazing. Let's compare the leaders. Where are they? Do I have the leaders? Is this Hasbulla? Oh, it's broken. Right, I don't think Hasbulla set up his thing, unfortunately. So that may have broken the data for this evening. But we'll soon see. Nonetheless, Natalie gaining on Snellhenk. She is the closest driver, and they're about to be in DRS. Neither of them have got any DRS, but she's got a far better exit there. I think Snellhenk really struggling on those tyres. He's gone wide in both of those corners. And Natalie's going to use the power of DRS alone. She brake quite early there to get DRS again, perhaps, for an easier move. She's going to use the rest of her battery. Snellhenk takes to the inside to force Natalie to the outside. She takes P10 before the braking zone, and Snellhenk accepts that position and drops down in behind her. Smith and Phil going wheel to wheel through turn 4 or 5. Again, I'm not sure how they classify these corners still. And the battle for P4, the second row of the grid, really heating up in these final few laps. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like the data is gone. Oh, it's back. It's back. Amazing. I just pressed the wrong button. Where do I want to be? Callum and Hasbulla with a great battle for the lead. Goran Potner didn't have the pace to keep up with them, unfortunately. Let's ride on board for what will be pole position in this race. Dino's closing in. Inorganic is closing in as well on Goey. He might make a move for P12. Don't think it's going to be enough. Let's keep on board with the leaders then, as they head round for lap 10 of 12. Now, I'm looking down this list. I don't see Callum on here either. So, unfortunately, I can't check their tyre wear, but I can check some other people's tyre wear. And Phil and Smith still exchanging positions. They're still side by side as they head to that corner. I'm going to have to get the corner numbers up here, because it's only 1 to 10. It shouldn't be that hard. And now I'm frantically scouring the timing sheets to make sure I don't miss anything else. Jones, all of a sudden, on the back of this, and he's picked up a time penalty. That was always going to happen there. Unfortunately, he already had 2 of them. That's going to affect his chances, but Phil also with that 3-second time penalty. And as it stands, he's going to drop quite a way back as they head on the penultimate lap then. Lap 11 of the sprint race. Phil is going to be under some massive pressure soon. No DRS in sight for him. 4.5 seconds off Goran Potner, and same goes for Goran Potner. Inorganic does eventually get Goey. And Phil has dropped the position. I looked away. Phil has dropped 2 positions. He's going to have to accept that one. And now Jones is looking to make the most of this and capitalise on that little error. Can he stay with Schmidt? We'll soon see. Jones's tyre wear creeping up to 40% on the rears. But Schmidt is in much better condition, so he might be able to get just ever so slightly more traction out of these fast corners. High speed corners. But Phil still not done with this yet. Very close on the back of Jones there. Carried so much more speed. Ivor has picked up rear wing damage toward the back. I'm not going to cut away from this. As Jones and Phil go side by side into the turn 3 braking zone. Enough room left by both drivers. And Phil's the one who picks up DRS. So Jones drops that position. This position is up for grabs with both drivers having a penalty. On the final lap, they head round and they're still exchanging blows. Frax has been disqualified, which is fine. He was already at the back. I'm just more involved in this battle. Phil holds it for now. Yellow flag in sector 1. No one's there, that's fine. Might just have run away from Jones here ever so slightly. Let's see then. It's going to be a little run to the line. How's Jones going to get on? Is he going a bit too deep? No changes there. So Callum wins the race. Congratulations, pole position for the Red Bull driver. I know he'll be chuffed with that. Let's see and hope if he can convert it in the feature race. Hasbulla holds on to P2 then, so he didn't get overtaken more than once. Goran Potner and Smith round off the front row. 21 people in chat, which is great to see. We didn't hit 20 last week, and I was let down. So I'm glad to see we've got some numbers in tonight. Let's catch up with the chat. We've got the old Spritzy in here, the Spritz dog from back in the day. James, hello James. Evening to you too. The beers are out. The beers are out. It's Corona tonight. So cheers to you too. Alex asking who would take out the braking boards. Well, I think that would be you, actually, mate. So the rest of the grid then. Dino Riker. So Riker had a great race there, starting right toward the back. He's got himself in prime position, really, to go and extend that. Natalie 2 all the way up to P8. Jones dropped down to P9, so Natalie got him on penalties in the end. Snellhenk recovered. That'll be an interesting battle going into turn 1. Snellhenk and Jones, who collided early on in the sprint race there. Goey and Organic, Spivey and Danos round off P14. And I couldn't scroll down fast enough. See what else has got going on. Spritzy saying hello Cornelius, whoever the hell that is, and Quinn's here as well. Fastest VDM. Yep, Quinn is proving that this season. Luke's and last season. Sorry, Luke's got some work to do if he wants to stay ahead of his brother. Now, I'm not going to lie, it looks very overcast. So, is the rain? Ooh, okay. Now, wait, am I reading this right? Race. Okay, I see. So it's starting cloudy, and then the rain may start after half an hour. And there's a 94% chance of heavy rain after 45 minutes. Now, will the race extend to 45 minutes? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. But I would love to see a little bit of rain, some interchanges maybe, toward the end of the race. That would really add to an already entertaining sprint race. That was good in the dries, and I'd like to test these guys out in the rain, which we haven't had yet so far this season. Ah yes, back his real name. Cornelius Dirk, the backer. The Baxter. Right, so everyone is underway, and I'm going to bang open the position change from the start, because that's where I went wrong last time. Try something new? No, mate. There's no point. Leads us around for what I believe is his first pole position. So he'll be both nervous and excited, I would imagine. Difficult start for Frax at the back. Rodo will have the pace. Puggy's used to this. Puggy drove from the back of the field as he would normally during qualifying up to P6 last week. And the podium last week was Matty, Nats and Rodo. So no Matty tonight, but Natalie is in the best position. If I was to predict anything, no offence to anybody else, but if I was to go for an outside podium, looking at this, it will probably be Dino, Riker and Natalie. Hopefully, though, we see a new race winner or a new podium sitter. I'd love for Callum to hang on. He, unfortunately, is one of the only 2 drivers, him and Goran Potner, who've DNF'd in both of the opening rounds. So I would love to see him stick it on the podium, but given previous, let's see if he can make it 36 laps. He lines up on the grid then. Let's hope he doesn't disqualify himself. He's covered off aggressively on Hasbulla, pointing his car away from the ideal racing line, which is good to see from him. Dino taking it nice and easy, getting it into his grid box. And the Merc of Smith also in quite an aggressive angle there. Snellhenk will be starting on cold tyres. Let's just quickly run down who's on what. A lot of hard runners and a few soft guys there. So that'll come into play. Let's see then, for the feature race, we have 5 lights. And they are away, and it looks like Hasbulla has got a drive-through. He's launched the start. That's rare to see. He's launched the start and he leads, but he's going to have to pit. So Callum just has to do his best. There's an Aston Martin off and round, and Goran Potner's in the wall already. And I can't get him. He's obliterated the sign, and he's already in the wall. So Callum has already been given the position by Hasbulla. Whether he handed it over, I'm not sure. Tight there. Contact going into turn 3. Drivers all over the place. Yellow flag somewhere. Looks like everyone's got through in the end, just about. Hasbulla has lost out to Dino, so Dino's had a great start. He's up 3 places. Where's Natalie? She's in P5. She's up 3 places. Puggy, as you might have expected, had a brilliant start off the line, up 6 places. He's our biggest winner. Goran Potner, the biggest loser though, down from 3rd all the way to 15th after the first corner. And Hasbulla then, is he going to come in straight away? No, he's going to get some life. Well, I don't really know why, but anyway, we'll see how he plays that later on. But Callum leads, and he has a gap to Dino of already 1.2 seconds. Smith has also boxed. Let's check on the damage there. Riker has reported some front wing damage, as has Smith. I will bring you those starting tyres. Most on the hards, and Natalie on the hards, already past Phil and up to P4. She's flying, and she'll see that Hasbulla has the drive-through, so she'll be hoping he doesn't put up too much of a fight, so she can take P3 on the alternate strategy. And if she starts gaining on the 2 guys in front, could be a dangerous old time. We've got an incident there. Who's that off? In Organics, picked up a severe collision. It's Frax on the soft tyres. Couldn't make it through the sprint. Now he can't make it through the opening laps of the feature race. Now, is this Hasbulla keeping to the right? Because he knows that he's going to go in the pit lane. And yes, nothing close enough. And he boxes to take his drive-through. He jumped the lights. Unfortunate for him. But he promotes a lot of drivers. Snellhenk, all of a sudden as well. He's up 5 places. And into P5, so a great result for him, for McLaren, which is great to see. And Puggy up 9 places, continuing to extend his margin. Ivor and Danos battling now, the 2 Ferraris, and Ivor's let him through. Little blips on the throttle as he heads into the braking zone, which ended up taking him too far. And just about hangs on to DRS. Callum has the second advantage as it stands, so no DRS for Dino. Let's see how bad Inorganic's damage was, because he looks to have stayed out. It's minor, 13% on the front right. So it is, well, it's a bit more than minor, but maybe it's not enough to send him into the pit lane. It doesn't say he's been fixed, but I'm looking at the actual game and it tells me that he's at the back, which would suggest he's been in to sort that out. What else have we got going on then? We've got Puggy and Goey, the 2 AlphaTauris, putting pressure on Riker, who I believe started in P6. So he hasn't gained at all in the opening 4 laps, or 3 laps here, and he's immediately going to be under pressure from both of these drivers. And Puggy has the most ERS out of that bunch. Danos has taken Jones, and Jones nearly getting very close again. Going into turn 3. He opens DRS and he's already lost a second on Danos in that traction zone alone. Let's keep our eyes out on this battle ahead for P6 with both the AlphaTauri drivers. The sister team, of course, to Red Bull, putting their main driver under threat. That obviously doesn't matter in RPM, but it's interesting to watch nonetheless. The margin up to Snellhenk. Riker will still have DRS, but he's not quite as close as the two drivers are in behind him. And look at that, already Goey on those soft tyres, losing a bit of grip. And Puggy kind of thinking, well, can I get past you? But in the grand scheme of it, it doesn't help Goey at all to be stuck behind a hard tyre runner, especially not his teammate. So it'd be interesting to see how far those soft tyres go. It's a surprise that anyone started on them, really. I haven't seen many predictions in the chat. My prediction's going okay. I said Dino, Natalie and Riker on the podium. Callum, though, I hope he hangs on. I really do. Just with his DNFs, you can never be totally sure. Plenty of time to go yet, and he needs to try and keep that DRS margin away from Dino just to alleviate that pressure a little bit. And Puggy has taken his teammate, which I did see. I was just too busy thinking about something else. And Riker going very slowly, having just taken Snellhenk. So he's brought himself right back into this and put Snellhenk in between himself and the AlphaTauris. And Puggy very quick on those hard tyres. He's kind of dropping Goey already, his teammate. And it won't be long until he's out of DRS. We'll see as those softs drop off. Huss predicting a Dino win, which wouldn't be a bad call, I don't think. As I say, it's all on Callum. Can he hold it together? Surely we're going to see a move as Vrodo takes Spivey and the McLaren takes to the outside around the Red Bull. Puggy's thinking, I'll get involved in this, lads. No bother at all. The hard tyres of the Red Bull have the better exit, but he's flashing already ahead. I think all three drivers are flashing ahead, and they're going to go 3 wide into turn 4. Puggy thinks better of it and backs out. And the room is left between the two drivers nicely ahead, Snellhenk and Puggy. And Snellhenk drops back into the slipstream. Riker holds on to that position. Great battling in the early phases. These hard tyres will be coming into their own now as the mediums begin to, drop off ever so slightly. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1, I believe. Is that Rodo? No, Rodo's gone off at turn 8. The McLaren of Hasbulla is just about to pass him. There he is in the gravel on the right hand side. This battle really close here, as you can see. 6 drivers within the best part of maybe 2.5 seconds. All the way down from Riker. Callum doing well to hold that margin. Natalie also still 2.5 seconds behind. Snellhenk has taken Puggy and he's given him just enough room. Elbows were definitely out there and Puggy's doing all he can to get ahead. They're fighting for that little slipstream ahead from the Red Bull, who's given himself a little bit of a margin, and Puggy looks to switch back. Goey's there, but he can't capitalise. Danos the same, and Puggy switches back nicely. Is he going to do it again here? No, he gets back in front of Snellhenk. So this time, last lap, he was ducking behind the Red Bull. This time he's ducking behind the AlphaTauri, and Puggy gets 2 moves done on the hard tyres in a space of just 2 or 3 laps there. And Danos all over the back. The softs must have gone off by now. And you would think that Goey is going to be pitting any minute now. Yellow flag again. Who's that? What happened to Hasbulla? Has he made a mistake or did he box? Let's check. Or is that... Oh no. Bloody hell, what am I thinking? That's me getting confused. Oh, who's that round? Frax, he's dropped it and he has to get off the track, which he has done. And that's Schmidt heading past him as Danos and Goey are going wheel to wheel. Bit of contact. Seems like all the action is happening up at turn 4. And the other McLaren of Hasbulla maybe looking to make a move on Ivor. Oh, and Ivor closes the door ever so slightly there. They avoid contact. just. And Frax has retired again. I believe he finished the race last week, but he hit the wall in Australia. And he is the first guy to DNF this evening. Thankfully, no need for a safety car as he retired in the pit lane. Let's go back to this battle between Goey and Danos. And Danos has just slipped up the inside of the penultimate corner. As I said, those softs, surely now, let's take a look. Goey. What are his tyres looking like? 50% wear, those softs now. And he's a second down on his best lap time. So I would be hitting the box as soon as I can. There's hards, will go quite a way, and Jones is already on the back of this. Puggy going up the inside, around the outside of Riker into turn 3. And it's a straight fight down toward the braking zone of turn 4. And Puggy's got the move done. Riker's not going to battle for that, so Puggy flying at the minute on those hard tyres. He's got a 5-second gap. No, he hasn't. He's got a 1-second gap to fill ahead, so nearly in DRS of the next car. Goran Potter and Spivey jostling for position in turn 4 as well. It's all kicking off all over the track. Hasbulla the same, right up behind Ivor, who has a penalty. Be 3 seconds at this point, I would imagine. And Callum, look at that, great driving from him so far. Extending that margin, and Goran Potter is in the barrier. Oh, that's a risky time to pull on. He's okay, I think. He's off the racing line, and he lets those cars go past. So as I was saying, Dino... Oh, and he's got so much ERS left, Callum. Absolutely great from him. Now, I'm just going to check some stuff, so bear with me while I do some research real quick. And let's just ride on board with the leader of the race for the time being. Goran Potter has entered the pit lane. Yeah, so what I've just gone to check, Callum, 17-year-old, the youngest driver on the grid by at least 4 years, which is quite a decent margin, to be honest, and obviously some of the older guys kicking about. So the young guy is showing the rest of the field up here. However, he's dropped half a second to Dino in that lap alone. Is Dino pushing? We'll have to see. Goey needs to pit. That rear tyre is really struggling now, up to 60% on the left-hand tyres. In fact, 60% everywhere now. He's just ticked over. Natalie also closing the margin. She's left Phil behind. 6.5 seconds, so all he can look to do is defend. And Dino is just about staying within DRS of Callum now. So Callum might think to pit a little bit earlier to cover off any lost time in a battle. Keep our eyes on this, and we'll keep our eyes on the timing sheets to see where things stand. And who's that off? Ivor. Ivor's off to the side of the track, and is he going to try and kick it around? He's off the road. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, dear me. I think Callum had to take avoiding action there to get around Ivor, who was just planting himself on a blind corner on the racing line. And he has DNF'd in the pits, so his race is also over. 3 drivers out, Ferrari, Aston Martin and Williams. So once again, the points fall on the shoulders of Natalie, who finds herself up into P3 and 2 seconds off the back of this pack. We're only a third of the way through this race. We've got a call for some tyres. Here they are. I'll leave those open for a minute. And we'll continue to ride on board. Goey still hasn't pitted. Those tyres approaching 70% now. I really don't know why he isn't going in yet. He's just losing so much time. And the hards would probably be okay. The McLaren of Hasbulla and Rodo making a little bit of contact there. Up at the top toward turn 3. What else have we got? So Nat, Dino, Riker, 1, 2, 3 says Wardy. Fretwell, Phil, Win or Bin, absolutely. And there's the 3-second time penalty, so that swings him more toward the side of Bin. Quinn, if Callum doesn't bin it and no safety car, he will win. I'm tempted to agree, but we haven't seen him under any pressure yet. Goey finally pits. It's about time. Yeah, we haven't seen him under any pressure yet, so let's see how he defends. First, oh, and Dino's off. I was just about to say defends from Dino. And he's off. So now, 2.5 seconds, the gap. And he's going to lose position to Phil. So Phil steps up onto the podium. He's on the hard tyres. Dino all the way down to P7. Maybe even P8. If Danos can get him around the outside, which he has done. He needs to box and get off those medium tyres. Absolutely. So Callum will be breathing a sigh of relief right now. The pressure was mounting ever so slightly as we crossed over the first third of this race, and he's got himself a nice 2.5 second margin. Now again, unfortunately, I can't check his tyres, so I don't know how he's getting on, but I'll hopefully be able to see Natalie's tyres. Where is she? Can't see her either. No, so unfortunately I can't see either of those guys' tyres at the top. Yeah, Dino, you're right. Huss, Dino has no front wing, unfortunately, so that'll be a long stretch back toward the pit lane. Let's see how Phil's tyres are getting on, and that might give us an idea of the other hard runners then. So Phil's running at 30% more or less all round, I would imagine. Natalie would be the same, which means Callum must be somewhere 40, 45, maybe even topping 50 soon. And we've got Hasbulla, who's just got past Rodo. Is Rodo going to send one back? Yes, he has. Hasbulla had the DRS. But Rodo sticks it up the inside, gives him more than enough room, really. Almost too much room. Shortens himself a little bit too much. Puggy all over the back, literally all over the back of Phil as he looks to push on for a podium position. This has been a great sprint and a great half to this race. Absolutely, Kieran. I'm sure you heard that. A scream of joy coming from Callum when he extended that margin. That's all he's got to do, just keep it clean. But we haven't seen him defend yet, and he's defending against one of the fastest drivers in the division in not so long. We don't have the AWS striking distance because that would ruin the climax, obviously. But Natalie is gaining lap after lap. Not too much, but a few tenths. And look at that, Puggy on traction. Gets DRS and has his foot to the floor. Phil has a bit more ERS to defend with. Hasbulla picking up another time penalty. And up the inside goes Puggy. Phil fights it back. He also has that time penalty. Puggy takes it again. Phil takes it again. Up the inside goes Phil, and he comes across the track. Doesn't really take the apex there, Phil. He's forced Puggy off. He's kind of disrupted his line there a little bit. Can't be helped. Bit of understeer from the Alpine. As they headed through turn 6. And that will have lit a spark in Puggy, I'm sure. He'll be all guns blazing for this podium because he knows it's on the cards. Phil nearly 10 seconds behind the top two. Natalie's just broke into that DRS part, so she's gained another few tenths. Got Snellhenk and Danos and Riker and Puggy all on the back of this. Phil, the cork in the bottle at the minute. It'll only be a matter of time before Jones catches up to the back of this, and we've got to move on. Again defending the outside. Puggy takes the position away from Phil. And look at that, Riker with 70% ERS remaining, so he has got the pace, and Phil losing another position. Snellhenk once again will be thinking, I can get involved with this, hoping that Phil battles, and he has. He's pushed Riker just over to the edge of the track, looking for the switchback. I think they've just made contact. Oh, and he has made contact with Riker again. Phil, a little nudge of the front wing, and again not giving enough space there, and Callum speeding in the pit lane. Oh, disaster. Oh man, that's gutting. It's not over yet. If there's a safety car, you can remove that penalty, but that is such a shame. That demotes him all the way down to P7, but obviously these guys ahead haven't yet pitted. So Natalie takes over the lead of the race. at least for the time being. And Puggy, the one under pressure now from the guys in behind. Snellhenk, surely his tyres are on the verge. He's got 45%. So he's so he's beginning to struggle on traction as he heads out of the corner. Let's have a look. Any idea on rain? Feel like Callum shouldn't have boxed. Well, he was on the mediums. He would have been on 45%, and if he wants to avoid scrapping with Natalie to try and save time there, that might have been better. He might. Is he picking up DRS? No, he's not picking up DRS. To be honest, Iggy, it's one of those things, you never know. If the safety car comes out now, he'll have wished he never did it. But Natalie was gaining and gaining, and it would have been only a matter of time before they lost time to one another. So at least Callum's got some clean air. She doesn't have DRS either, so it's just a straight battle of pace. And he is on the far fresher tyres, just got to get them warmed up nice and quickly. Spivey taking Inorganic toward the back, but the battle for what will be P3 as it stands, possibly P2 if Callum gets dropped down the order with that penalty and contact in the rear from Danos. He hasn't spun around. Snellhenk, he might have damage. Has he picked up damage? He's got floor and side pod damage, has Danos, so that's terminal damage for Danos for the foreseeable of this race. As we hit the halfway point, and Danos yet to pit, so he'll have a bit more grip, but these final few laps he's going to be suffering with that damage. Let's answer the rain question. So the telemetry tells me there's a 61% chance of light rain in 10 minutes, 86% chance of light rain in 15 minutes, and a 90% chance of a storm in half an hour. So we probably won't get the stormy weather. And that's the McLaren. It's Snellhenk who's dropped it. So he'll come in and come off of those medium tyres, which is probably about right anyway. I'm surprised the hard runners have taken them so long. What's going on here? Battle. Puggy. And battling for Riker. Battling P2 still. Phil all over this. Jones still hasn't been able to gain. Danos has that damage. So yeah, rain could be coming. Yeah, Chris, to be honest, I would guess the light rain, 66% chance. I would say that will be worth inters, absolutely. Now the question is, which of the drivers is asking their engineer for a weather update, and which of them know that if they can hang out for 10 minutes or so, there could be around. And there's Puggy, he's dropped it. He's got a gap, thankfully, he's got a gap to get going again, so Callum regains a position for free, which is nice for him with his penalty. And Puggy, who had all the pace in the world tonight, has unluckily dropped it, and he'd be right to box. No, he stays out. Puggy opting to stay out. Let's see what his tyres are saying. 50% wear. I'd be going in. Again, sorry I say that. Like I just said before it happened, if they can hang out for 10 minutes, which is a long time, I'm not going to lie, these tyres will be crying by the end of it. If these guys on the hards can hang out till then, you know, Callum's in the best position he can be, I think, with the way things have gone. He'll be on fresher tyres, so he doesn't have to worry about coming in. The guys around him have got that question mark thinking, do I stay out for rain or do I box for mediums and box again? And even if Callum does have to box, he'll lose that penalty and they'll be out on inters, and it's a whole different ball game at that point. Riker, crucially, with a 3-second time penalty. Let's see where we are here. So Callum, the only guy with an entry penalty, but Phil in P2, Riker P3, Jones all on 3s, and Hasbulla and Inorganic on 6. So a disaster, unfortunately, for Hasbulla. Still in the points, and it won't be the end of the world. A safety car would change that, obviously. And it's not the end of the day for Callum either, because none of these guys around him have made a stop, and Phil has just lost the position to Riker. Yeah, none of these guys have made a stop, so there's always a chance that they overdo it on the way into the pit lane as well and match him. And unfortunately, I can't check like lap times or anything. I'd be quite interested to see how fast Natalie's going in comparison to Callum. Let's remind ourselves of these tyres one more time. So now crossing over on the 20th lap. Really, really interesting here to see how far these tyres can go. Let's clear this all away and go back to some normal racing. And let's ride on for the battle for P2. You're welcome, Chris. Thanking you. Fretty, always enjoy watching Austria races. Yeah, it's a good track. I mean, simple, but it offers a lot, and I'm struggling to keep up from time to time with all this data that I've got in front of me. But these battles have been entertaining. Callum and Danos, let's hope it's incident free. Yes, it is. Callum has to accept that he's not going to get the position there. And he's got DRS though. No, he hasn't got DRS though. I'm not sure how that is, because neither of these guys do. Jones still in the hunt for P5. But 2.2 seconds, I think Jones will be wise. So just see how things develop ahead. Don't push too hard and try and hold on to that kind of finish, because that is some good points. Am I seeing rain? I think I'm seeing rain. Rain alert. So it came early. Well, there's a 20% chance at the minute, and that 20% has hit. So, unfortunately for Callum, I think that's going to go throw his chances of regaining the lead of the race out the window. And Higgsy, you were right. He maybe should have stayed out. These are the things that we learn, though. You learn more from your failure, obviously, than you do from your success. So Callum will know this for next time, and he might still fight back. He's going to fight back on Danos to try and take P4. He takes it before the braking zone. Let's see how they get on through the braking zone. He's left it late there, Callum, and he gets the position. But Danos is immediately going to fight back, and traction is always a question mark when the rain starts coming out. How deep can these guys brake, and how quick can they light up the throttle before it's too much and before it sends them into a spin? Callum taking the wide line there, smart move, as he heads out of the traction zone. And this has worked very well for, well, Natalie, who's obviously taken that position over Callum, and who will now hold on to box, presumably onto Winters, if the rain holds on. So only one of the top 8 have boxed, and that's Callum. So he's got the pace on those tyres to keep the pressure on, and he's already putting the pressure on Phil. He's dragging Danos around in behind them, but the action is here with the Red Bull and the Alpine. And he makes a slight bit of contact there, not enough to throw Phil completely offline, but it slows him down on the exit. Jones has pitted. What's he going to slip on? Is he putting on the inters? He has put on the inters. Jones pulls the trigger. The first driver to do so. In fact, no, sorry, Goey and Smith at the back are also on the inters. But Jones, who's dropped down from P6 or P7, the first driver to commit to the inters. That could be a masterful strategy. We'll soon see how that plays out. And respect for the first guy to do that. And it looks as though Phil is accepting that he's going to box. He's taken it to the inside nicely. Oh, and Callum gets ever so close there, but Phil did right, did what he had to do. And he comes in, once again, presumably, 23, 24 laps. Let's see what he's boxing off of. 50%, so not too bad there, actually, in the grand scheme of things. Oh, shit. Brought the telemetry again, but it's back because I know how to fix it this time. So, Callum regains P3 with a 10-second gap to Puggy. So his penalty currently won't matter. Red Bull race P2 and P3. And Callum will still have that grip. Let's see Riker. Do we have Riker? There he is. Riker's tyres. 45% up to 53% on the lefts. So Riker really struggling. And in the damp conditions, which you might have just seen there, a lot of the grid turning over onto the into the intermediate tyres. Callum, even with the most grip on the track, well, on the slicks at least, struggling with a bit of oversteer. Riker pits, he'll be going onto the inters. All the teams choosing to pull the trigger, apart from these two at the front, who've got some unfinished business, never really seen each other on track. It's all been decided via arguably a premature pit stop by Callum. Dino takes Danos. Oh no, never mind. He loses the position even as he comes into the pit lane. As does Puggy. So Jones regains P6. And depending on what happens ahead, could promote himself ever so slightly. I mean, the interval times are huge. But you never know, these guys still on the slick tyres could easily drop the ball. The track, though, admittedly, doesn't look too wet. It's still raining, but it isn't pouring. Within 5 minutes, the telemetry suggests that we'll have an 86% rain coverage. Now, I'm not sure, again, you know, some people think it's a chance of rain, others think that it's a coverage of rain. So we'll say there's an 86% chance of track coverage, an 86% chance. You know, take that how you will. That's up to you. But the damp finish that we were hoping for to round off what's been a very entertaining evening so far. No safety cars. As I say that, there's double wave yellows for Dino. He's not on the wall, is he? No, we'll be okay. So the first man to drop the ball on the inters is Dino. Unfortunately, someone, me, and also someone else predicted he would have a good result today, and unfortunately, he's proved us wrong. Natalie now coming up behind Inorganic. No, it's not Inorganic. It's Dino. So she's lapped a lot of the field already. And now she pulls the trigger to box. Let's see, how does Callum respond? You'll see that on his screen. Does he feel okay? He's also choosing to box. Does right by coming in and taking it easy. Now the team will use that 5-second penalty. So Riker will inherit P2. Don't get another one. Oh god, I think he was okay. But that was again on the limit. The 5-second penalty is now being served. So that'll clear his name. And let's watch on to see where he comes out then. Boy, it'll be tight between Phil and Danos. I don't think he'll get it done. No, he won't get it done. Is he even going to beat Jones? Let's take a look then. Callum exits the pit lane. He hasn't got Jones. 2 seconds behind P6 with 8 laps or 9 laps yet to go. Thankfully, Kieran, his tyres have switched correctly. The game must know what he's after. And he's stuck them on correctly. So he's got some good grip ahead of the guys in front. And he also has decent pace. So let's see how he catches up with everyone. And hopefully he can get his first points of the season. Albeit maybe not the race win that he would have wanted. But still, a top 6 finish if he can hang on to it. Puggy obviously closing in behind. But DRS now no longer a factor. It's all about the driver's pace. And the setups. Have some guys gone with a bit more downforce, which might suit them well in these conditions? Or will those guys on low downforce setups struggle to keep it together? We may see a few guys picking up some more penalties. What will be good for Callum, I think, is if the field bunches up under a safety car, so that the guys in front of him, the 3 guys in front of him, each with time penalties of 3 seconds, can reduce the margin on those guys. So Danos and Puggy, the 2 biggest gainers as we head into the final phase of this race. The rain coming down still, but the track not too wet. There's obviously a wet line, you can see there. No dry line anymore. But it's hardly coming down too severely. I think we'll be clear of the storm, as it says on the telemetry, which says it'll be coming in 10 minutes. So that should. But then again, the rain did come early, so the storm might come early. But damp conditions nonetheless. Gohi and Spivey remain where they started, so very consistent drives from the pair of them. And let's ride on board with Danos, who's closing in on Phil for P3 in this race. Danos obviously with no penalties, so he'll be conscious of that. He puts his foot to the floor and gets his ERS on quite early there, actually, considering how close he was to Phil and considering the penalty situation. And he sneaks up the inside, as you might have expected. But Phil fights it back on traction and gets the traction. What's Phil's ERS like? He has a bucket load to use as well. Nice and cautiously through turn 5. And now 6, which you would like to take so much more speed through. Oversteer a little bit there on the Ferrari. Gets his foot down more than Phil. Great battle for the podium. Smith takes Goey, and Goey and Smith battling each other. Going into turn 3. Oh, and Danos nearly sent himself into the pit lane. Phil's giving him the room. Good racing. And he puts his foot down and gets away well, Phil. Jones all over the back of this as well. He's now within 8 tenths. But the gap behind to Callum, this pack of 5 drivers could still fight for a podium if we have a few incidents along the way. 6 laps to go. And Danos enabling ERS very early. He's barely even got his foot to the floor and his ERS is already enabled, which won't help him on traction. Natalie leading the race. Now, I'm not sure if that's outright pace or if that's just good on the pit stop time. Riker only made 1 stop as well. So, that may be genuine pace. And I do want to cover some of the drivers, but unfortunately, nobody, apart from this battle, is really in the position. Let's give Jones some screen time. Those glorious hands of his on that fine Aston Martin wheel. Look at them go. Within 7 tenths. He's dropped a tenth on the guys in front who are battling. And now he's right on the back of this. Callum the same. Podium hopes for all of these drivers, I would say, down until Puggy, are not off the table yet. One mistake from any of these 5 drivers could open the door. And Callum's got to be aware of those penalties as well. He'll be hoping Danos picks up a penalty. That's for sure. Any of you guys not with RPM, you can go ahead and scan that QR code, which will take you to our Discord page. I wouldn't imagine there's many of you in that situation. But nevertheless, it's nice to advertise. So I'll leave that up there for a few moments if anyone would like to do that. And we'll soon take a look at the live table, which we haven't had a chance to bring up. Safety cars normally offer a moment or two to review the press room, which I might do if I have time, which I don't think I'm going to have time. And also look at the driver's standings. So let's take a look. As things stand, Riker has taken the lead at the top of the table. Close, very close, in behind on Natalie, just 6 points the difference. So them two have taken Matty, who's dropped down 2 places. Danos, huge result for him. He's up into P4, and Jones himself as well, up to P5. Some drivers losing out. Snellhank down a few, Rodo down a few, and the biggest gainer though, Phil, up 7 positions, up into P11, nearly getting himself into the top 10. As things stand, he's converted some good points, but it's not over yet. The Live Constructors title then, Haas dropped down a position, into P7, and it stays the same at the top. Points have been added, but it stayed more or less the same all around the top of the division. And this battle for the podium, well and truly on. Phil really struggling there, doesn't want to put his foot down too soon. And Callum, just as I was saying, he's picked up that penalty. And it's all come undone for him, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah, Higgsy, if I'd read that a minute or two ago, you would have been absolutely right. Now, there is still a podium shout, but Puggy's just taken him around the outside as they go through turn 2 into the braking zone for 3. It's all slowly falling away from Callum as the rain intensifies. I'm not going to lie, don't think it's wet yet, and I don't think it will be wet, but it's not letting off. And this storm, let's see what the update is there. Storm in 5 minutes, according to the game. And it's bucketing down now. Grip will be getting less and less. Action surely to unfold as Jones drops it. Puggy 2 positions in a matter of corners. And he takes the Aston Martin before they reach the complex of 5, 6 and 7. So Phil got himself with a little bit of a cushion to Danos in behind. He's looking to convert that podium as they round for the penultimate lap. Natalie's just crossed the line. No, she hasn't. Riker's just crossed the line to take us onto lap 35. So the penultimate race. The action, though, all on still for the podium. Just 2.5 seconds separating 3rd down to 7th, which is a good battle to follow on. Everyone else quite the distance away from each other. Let's ride on board with Puggy, who's looking to make a 3rd move in a matter of corners. Oh, and contact. He's been forced off by Danos, who's completely missed the braking zone. Puggy gets the switchback. The braking board's gone. Puggy's nearly gone. Keeps it together, though. And he takes the position. And now he's all over the back. Well, he's not all over the back of Phil, but he's got a chance to push. Has Phil defended his ERS? Yes, he has. Really struggling there, though. Puddles appearing all over the circuit. Wants to drive offline to find the most grip. I assume that's a feature in this game. I'll be disappointed if it isn't. Phil taking it nice and easy. Puggy, though, with that costly error earlier. Look at the rain now. This could be full wets. I mean, no one's going to do it on the final lap, of course. Well, not the final lap for these lot. But I'll be really surprised if no one makes a mistake. If no one DNFs in these conditions, it'll be a great time. And Phil now really struggling. Puggy can see that. He's got no threat in behind. Is Puggy going to take him? It's like bumper cars. Phil needs to move out the, well, not out the way, but he needs to give him the room, which he has done. And he's kind of half closed the door there. I'm not sure he should have really done that. I mean, he knows that he's got the time penalty. Let's see how that's going to affect things. Riker is firmed. Natalie is firmed. But Phil could yet drop down to P5. And he's gone deep. It could be worse. He's left the track, come back on, and he picks up another penalty. So that's it for Phil. He will drop down somewhere around P8, P9 maybe. All said and done. But this rain is ridiculous. Anyway, Natalie heads around the final corner. And she wins again in Austria. After Belgium last week, she's converted another win, starting at the back of the field towards at least. And she's converted that first win. Riker in the Red Bull, who's had a positive start, and he leads the championship as it stands. He comes around the final corner to take home P2 for the Red Bull team. Phil then will be next across the line, but he will drop down under those penalties. So let's see where he comes out. And Puggy, nice and easy, nothing giving on the throttle, no one wants to make a mistake. Danos crosses the line, drops Puggy. Not Puggy, sorry, Phil. Jones crosses the line, and Phil holds on to P6. Callum, so unfortunate for him. It just kind of all went wrong. The pit stop maybe wasn't necessary, and then the 5-second penalty sort of threw things up a little bit. You put up a good fight, and P8 is absolutely some good points to take home after some disappointing DNFs in the opening 2 rounds. Jones with a good result, Phil with another good result there as well. But the podium, Puggy, what a drive. DNF'd in the sprint race, started at the back, made a mistake halfway through the race and still drove himself to P3, so he's one to watch. He should really try and qualify more. He might actually challenge for the championship if he put it in. So anyway, that's that, and we will get the final classification soon and run through all of that. Yeah, quality battles, Jones, sorry Chris there, good, glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, Fretty saying definitely isn't a feature with code. He's probably right. I would like to think it is, but he's probably right, and it probably isn't. Yeah, so you're right there, Rusty. Well done to all the drivers. And Natalie steps up and takes the top step at the podium again with a little dance. So there it is then. Let me give notice to the podium. So Natalie takes P1. Riker is in P2. And I've accidentally skipped ahead. Let me get it on my phone real quick. So Riker finished P2. Puggy, Callum, Danos, Phil, the top 6. Rodo Hasbulla, Goran Potner, good result from him in the end. And Dino, round off P10, so disappointing for Dino. And then Jones, all the way down in P11, rough after those penalties were added. Smith, Goey and Snellhenk in P14. And that's all I could see. So, the session is ending. And unfortunately, I can't leave. If anyone joins me for interviews, we'll see if they fancy it. No pressure if not, though. Saves me a few minutes. Unfortunately, I can't leave. I should have left during the just after the podium there. I'll give it a minute or two and we'll see. In the meantime, though, let's take a look at the live tables. Oh, no, that's the wrong button. Let's get that open. And let's get that open. Oh, no. Jesus, what a mess. So, Riker, Natalie, Matty, Rodo, Danos, the top 5. And Puggy, Dino and Smith, Snellhenk, the top 10. So quite a few changes over the course of that, especially with Matty not appearing. I heard something there, and it's Natalie again. Good evening, Natalie.
Hi.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. And that was a very entertaining race to watch. No safety cars, so absolutely relentless. But first of all, talk me through the sprint. How were you setting up? What were your thoughts going into into turn 1? Was it send it, or were you trying to just hold what you had and get through the first lap?
I mean, I only joined last week, and I only actually raced maybe 2 people last week, so I don't really know how anyone is too much. I know that ghosting's off as well. So, knowing what AUSTRIA is like and how rubbish the curbs are in the first couple of corners, I just sort of like lifted off because I was at the back anyway. So I'll lift off in case chaos happens, and then I can drive around it. And mild chaos happened, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I noticed. I didn't pick too much of it up, unfortunately. I couldn't get the right angle, but yeah, it didn't seem too bad. But a few drivers sprayed across the back of the track and on the gravel.
Yeah, I mean, and then I just had skill issues.
Nice. We've all been there.
I like making life hard for myself. But I mean, I managed to work my way up to a decent enough position in the sprint.
I was going to say, remind me where you finished there and where did you start the feature race?
I think it was I started about
Roughly.
P8, something like that. They're not ideal because I don't massively like starting on the inside round AUSTRIA, just because the inside curve sends you to the outside and the outside curve sends you to the inside. So there's not really anywhere nice to start around Austria, to be honest. But
Absolutely. So you got away well. You had a good start. You had a good run, and then I was trying to figure out when you guys were going to take those hards to. Was it in your mind? Did you see the rain? Was it in your mind to try and extend that until it was time for inters, or were you just driving the socks off those hard tyres? Because I think you took them quite far, maybe 23 or 24 laps.
27 laps.
27 laps. So you were and were they in decent condition? You must have been convinced of the rain then.
Well, it was definitely going to rain. It sort of had it raining from halfway through, and it had normal rain, heavy rain, normal rain. So it was definitely going to rain.
Yeah, just enough maybe.
So I know that the hards can run a really long time around there. And then Mark did a mark where he said from lap 5, rain in 10 to 15 minutes.
Forever, yeah. We've all been there.
20, it's like 10 to 15 minutes, and you're like, sound, cool, anytime soon. And then when it's getting close to when it's going to rain, you go, weather report, and it says, dry as the right tyre for now, and it's like, not what I asked.
Yeah, a few drivers I think were having similar issues, but in the end, unfortunately though, we didn't see any overtakes for the lead, because obviously Callum boxed just as you were approaching him. I was very
surprised that he boxed, because it started raining, I think, maybe 1 or 2 laps later, and I know that the mediums will have been a bit dead, but
yeah, that was the issue for him.
It was probably worth just trying to hang on a tiny little bit longer.
Yeah.
But
I mean, in the end,
I mean, my hards were like, I think the worst one was about 71%.
I mean, it's pretty bad.
So
yeah, always risk, especially when the rain comes, lack of grip, and then lack of surface grip as well.
Yeah,
it's a risky combination.
I had quite a nice gap I managed to build in the dries.
Yeah,
it gave me a little bit more wiggle room with if they started feeling a bit sketchy, but they weren't feeling too bad. It took quite a long time from when it actually started raining for the track to get a bit greasy. It took about maybe 6 laps or so I thought I was going to go in a lot earlier than I actually did, but the last like 2 laps though, like it was wet.
Yeah, it was. I saw that. It really came down. And to be honest, if the race had maybe a few more laps in it, some might have opted to go for wets to be on the safe side, but it came just a little bit too late. Got a little bit sketchy for the podium places in the end. A lot of drivers sort of squeezed into a couple of seconds. I think maybe 5 drivers it was. But yeah, as I say, a shame that you guys didn't battle for the lead, and Callum unfortunately picked up a penalty in the pit lane.
Oh, did he?
And then a track limits one as well, so he couldn't hang on and he couldn't get the podium. I believe it was Puggy who finished in the podium places, because Phil picked up a few penalties, so that was good for him as well, because he had a disaster. Both dropped it and DNF'd in the sprint, so it was good for him to get back up there. So next week, Mexico. Now, I haven't raced Mexico very much. We haven't raced Mexico here before, I don't think. So what do you think about that? Back to normal qualifying. Do you have got much lap time around there, or are you going to have to learn that circuit again?
I'm decently quick round there, but the curbs through the S's like to murder me.
Yeah, absolutely.
At times. So
yeah. Completely.
It'll be a case of get a couple of... Is it normal?
It is.
Okay. So it will just be... I'll probably just try and get like a normal run in, and then I'll go for mildly more helpful leather one. Back end of it, because it's one of those really aggravating bits of track where if you go for it through the S's, you find like 4 tenths or so. So there's a massive amount
risk
of
reward there,
time to gain, but it's if you run it ever so slightly wrong, then you're in a wall. So
absolutely, a bit of space, but high speed and a mistake never goes down very well, does it?
Really quick. I don't know if it's better to ask you really quickly now or not. Ghosting is off, isn't it?
Yeah. Everything that you would normally find on a real life circuit, we try and do. So no ghosting. Not even AI ghosting, I believe. So
yeah, because I had a pooey bum moment with someone. Sorry, I might just drop him a message quietly in the Discord.
Yeah.
But no, I very, very, very nearly DNF'd.
Oh god.
Very nearly DNF'd.
Right, okay. Well, I missed that one, so you can spare your embarrassment there. It wasn't caught on stream.
Yeah, it was sort of a last minute like swerve.
Yeah. Couple of people maybe in the steward's room, but all in all, to be honest, for the best part of 50 laps, it's no safety cars and not too many DNFs. It's good going. So good advertisement
think-
for the league, for the division, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really competitive, and there was a lot of battling going on as well, which is good to see. Because especially when it's this sort of format, it can spread things out a little bit more because people get caught up in battles, and some people are easier to overtake than others, and all of that sort of thing. And once you get stuck in a train around Austria, you're a bit screwed. So
Precisely, yeah, we saw that actually time and time again. 5 or 6 cars stuck in the train. It took an incident before it piled up again. But yeah,
that's why I
cool.
was stuck in P3 because the top 2 were just towing each other around.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah, literally, you got there in the end.
But,
Anyway, yeah, good stuff. So I'll call that there, and we'll get this stuff sorted. So I appreciate you for joining me again. Might become a regular thing if you keep getting it on the podium. No one else this week, which is good. Yeah, well, you might have more competition next week, but I think the rain and the pit stops kind of went your way. So good stuff. Right, yeah. So thanks for joining, and cheers to everyone else who hung around to go through this, and also who watched the race. And Luke will be with you tomorrow, Jones as per on Thursday, and then I'll be back with Mexico this time next week. So thanks all for watching, and we'll see you later.